Yeah, we got here early, thinking the same thing. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Thursday, June 26th, Metropolitan Planning Commission meeting. We will start out by having our open announcements, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission and the Board will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
Before we do the roll call, I just want to let everybody know, for those who haven't been here before, basically what we're going to be doing on the agenda. After the roll call, we're going to go through each of the items to see which items we can take on consent, if any. And then we do not have a BZA that's been pulled. And then after that, then we'll start going into the normal agenda items. Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Fry is absent. Mader?
Here.
McKay?
Here.
Dool is absent. Bill Johnson?
Present.
High?
Present.
Nix?
Here.
Klontz is absent. Warren?
Here.
Joe Johnson is absent. Miles?
Present.
Zimbelman?
Here.
Aldrich?
Here.
Williams Bay?
Here.
Sir, I show 4 members are absent and 10 members are present.
And thank you, sir. I appreciate that. The next agenda item, B1.3, be approval of the prior minutes. I show that Commissioner Bob Dool was absent.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we are going to go through the determination to see what items may be taken consent and which ones we need to hear. The first item would be subdivision 2.1, approximate location, South Meridian and 55th Street South. Is there anybody on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anybody from the public that would like to hear this case? We will take that one on consent. 2.2, subdivision 2025-00027. It's a one-step final plat. Approximate location is 21st Street North and North Hill Avenue, University United Methodist Church. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.2 on consent. 2.3, subdivision 2025-00028. It's a one-step final plat for Cedar View Village, second edition. Approximate location is East Lincoln and South Greenwich Road. Does anybody on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.3 on consent. 2.4, subdivision 2025-00029, one-step final plat, the Medmeyer Ridge addition, approximate location 61st Street North and North 263rd Street West. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.4 on consent.
I'd like to move, we approve 2.1, 2, 3, and 4 on consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next agenda item, we'll be hearing the public hearing for the vacation items. 3.3, the vacation 2025-00016, the vacation request for a platted 30-foot street setback, approximately South Hillside and Pawnee. Is there anyone from the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take 3.3 on consent. 3.2 is a vacation 2025-00020. It's a utility easement, approximately East Shady Brook Street and Woodlawn Boulevard. Is there anyone from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 3.2 on consent. 3.3, vacation 2025-00021. It's a 50-foot taxiway easement generally located at West Harry, South Hoover Street. Is there anyone on the commission would like to hear this case? Anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 3.3 on consent.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve items 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that will take us to the public hearing items. We will be hearing 4.1 and 4.2. 4.2 is up for denial. So I will go to 4.3, conditional use, 2025-00075 to allow accessory apartments, approximately 135th Street West and 31st Street South. Is there anyone from the Planning Commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 4.3 on consent. 4.4, conditional use 2025 00076. Again, for an accessory apartment in the county. Proximal location is 167th Street West, 1/2 mile of West Maple. Is there anyone from the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will hear 4.4 on consent, or excuse me, we will take 4.4 on consent. The next item is PUD 2025-00004. This was deferred from June 12th to today's meeting. Approximately location is the West Burton Avenue and South Meridian. This is the Falcon Crest PUD number 139. Is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Or excuse me, is anyone from the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 4.5 on consent. 4.6, the zone 2025-00025 has been deferred by the applicant. It's rescheduled for July the 10th, so we will not be hearing this one. 4.7, zone change 2025-0026. That is approximately South Washington Avenue, East Kellogg. Is there anybody from the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public like to hear this case? We have one. We will be hearing 4.7. Do we have a motion for 4.3, 4.4, 4.5?
So moved.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't turn the page. We will be hearing 4.8. So now going back to
Okay.
the motion.
Now I
have
go
a
back
second?
and move.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. That's going to bring us to the non-public items. I do want to make a comment on this, on these, that some of these might be a couple of controversial, but I do think that one of these items that we need to allow the public to at least have some comments on there. But when we get closer to that one, I'll be making a statement on that. So we will be hearing the non-public items 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3. Again, 5.1 is the Board of Zoning Appeals. That has been withdrawn. We do have minutes. There's no need to go over the minutes for approval. That will be deferred until the next scheduled BZA meeting. So that will bring us to public hearing 4.1. Justin.
Good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. Justin Constantino with the Planning Department, here to talk about the Crown Uptown Theater nomination to the Wichita Register of Historic Places. Next slide, please. A couple talking points today. I will discuss the recommended action, the role of the Planning Commission today. I will do a quick overview of the municipal code and the process for the listing. I will talk about the process timeline, where we are in the approval process, a history of the Crown Uptown Theater. Robin Gibson from Falk Architects is in attendance. So during my presentation, I will briefly turn it over to Robin to speak about the Crown Uptown Theater building itself. And then finally, I will discuss the conformance to existing plans and policies. Next slide, please. So your task today, it is recommended that the MAPC determine whether the listing of the subject property to the Wichita Register of Historic Places is consistent with the adopted plans and transmit such findings to the City Council. So later on in my presentation, I will go through highlights of several of our existing plans for you to discuss. Next slide, please. Here's a little bit of background on this process. The Wichita City Council adopted an undesignated historic resource list back in September of 1998. The City Code of Ordinances defines undesignated historic resource as structures or buildings listed by the City Council by ordinance as having historical, cultural, aesthetic, architectural, and/or archaeological significance or other character-defining features. The adopted City of Wichita UHR's list includes 3207 East Douglas Avenue, commonly known as the Crown Uptown Theater. On February 5th, 2025, the property owner filed a wrecking permit through the building department. An application to the BCD for a demolition shall require notification for the preservation staff for all UHRs. The preservation planner in the planning department may, within 15 days of receipt, implement an interim control to last no longer than 30 days. On February 13th, 2025, the preservation planner sent an email and certified letter to the owner of the property at 3207 East Douglas Avenue, notifying them of the interim control period that shall end no later than March 7th, 2025. By resolution, the City Council may extend the interim control period by up to 180 days, which would be August 4th. On March 4th, the City Council voted to extend the interim control period to 180 days from the date the wrecking permit was filed, and the interim control period will end again on Monday, August 4th. At the same meeting, a City Council member requested that staff draft a resolution or ordinance to start the process that would nominate the Crown Uptown Theater to be placed on the Wichita Register of Historic Places for City Council consideration. On April 1st of 2025, the Wichita City Council voted to initiate the process to nominate the Crown Uptown Theater for placement on the Wichita Register of Historic Places. Following the action by the City Council, the Planning Department utilized a competitive process to hire Falk Architects to review whether the Crown Uptown Theater meets the criteria to be on the Register of Historic Places and to prepare and present those nomination materials. Next slide, please. Back on June 9th, the Historic Preservation Board met, and they did vote in favor that it does meet the criteria to be nominated for the Wichita Register of Historic Places. That brings us to today, June 26th, where you will be responsible to review current plans and policies and make sure that and determine whether or not the nomination aligns with those plans and policies. And then the next step following this will be the Wichita City Council meeting on July 15th. Before I get into the conformance with the existing plans, I do want to bring up Robin Gibson from Falk Architects. She is in attendance this afternoon to discuss the historic significance of the Crown Uptown Theater building.
Excuse me, Justin, I got a quick question.
Yes,
Is
sir.
the property owner of the Crown here today?
I'm not sure. Is it just a property owner of the Crown in attendance? I don't believe so, sir.
Was he notified of the meeting?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin. Good afternoon. My name is Robin Gibson. I work with Falk Architects in Topeka, Kansas. Justin has asked me to present a brief history of the Crown Uptown Theater. Maybe. The Crown Theater opened on the evening of July 16th, 1928. This is a period of significant economic development in the College Hill area, as the population had increased tenfold in the previous decade. It was called the first suburban theater in the Wichita area and was immediately recognized as a landmark for the neighborhood as businesses began advertising their own locations relative to the theater. Next slide. The opening show was sold out, and hundreds more locals flocked to the theater to get their first glimpse of the interiors. Next slide, please. That day's Wichita Beacon devoted 2 full spreads to the theater, describing the grandeur of the interior with lavish finishes and furnishings and the most modern HVAC, lighting, and theater equipment available at the time. Next slide, please. The building was designed by the Baller brothers, Carl and Robert, a Kansas City-based architects known for their movie palace designs. The brothers designed and built over 100 theaters in the United States in various architectural styles, including 58 in the state of Kansas alone. Only one of those Kansas theaters, the Crown Theater, was in the atmospheric style. Next slide, please. Atmospheric theaters are designed to transport the participant to another world, disconnecting them from their everyday life to fully immerse them in an alternate environment. This is accomplished through the architectural design, in this case, a combination of Moorish revival and neoclassical on the exterior, presenting a facade that is both exotic and alluring. Notable exterior elements on the Crown include the vertical neon uptown sign, colorful tirework at the center, repeating trefoil arches in relief along the entablature, topped with cross-shaped finials reaching up to the sky. Next slide, please. The interior design reinforces the subjective, surrounding you with faux stone walls and a blue sky above, creating the illusion that you are in an interior courtyard, a feature common in many classical architectural styles. The architectural design of the interior features elements from the Moorish, Baroque, and Byzantine architectural movements. At its inception, the Crown Theater featured an in-house organist, a full orchestra, a stage for live performances, as well as a screen equipped for motion pictures with synchronized sound, an innovation at the time. Next slide, please. Within the first year of its opening, the theater owners were in bankruptcy court. Luckily, with some reorganizing of ownership, the theater remained open and continued to thrive. Many weekend events were presented to a packed house. By the 1960s, television sets had become more prominent in the American home, and theater attendance declined. Next slide, please. To revive business, the Crown underwent its first documented renovation into a Cinerama theater. Next slide, please. An early type of 3D movie experience. You can see the curved Cinerama screen being erected over the orchestra pit in front of the stage. Next slide, please. During the 1970s, significant portions of the population were moving out of the city into new suburban areas where multi-screen theaters were becoming popular, and interest in small inner-city theaters dwindled. In the no longer suburban College Hill, the Crown Theater remained in operation, showing 50-cent double features, but there were rumors of demolition as the condition of the building deteriorated. Next slide, please. Recognizing its potential, Ted Morris purchased the building in 1976, reopening it as a dinner theater. His renovation work included restoration of the colorful tile work and the original vertical sign of the facade, an upgraded marquee, and interior modifications to accommodate the revised use. The newly named Crown Uptown Theater operated as a dinner theater until 2015. Next slide, please. Over the past decade, 4 additional owners have recognized the building's value, investing their own time and resources to maintain and upgrade it. Next slide, please. The theater accommodates a range of events, including theater performances, musical shows, comedy acts, and weddings. Despite periodic renovation, the building's architectural character has been preserved. For nearly a century, the Crown Uptown Theater the Crown Uptown Theater has remained a visible and active presence in Wichita's cultural landscape. Its adaptability and sustained operation across generations demonstrate the long-term viability of historic structures within a changing urban context. Ongoing investment by successive owners, along with its architectural distinctiveness, reflects its continued role not just as a building, but as a local landmark with lasting value to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. We can go to the next slide, please. So again, today we are discussing the conformance to the existing plans and policies. I'll highlight several of these plans. These are discussed in detail in your packet. The Community Investments Plan, or the Comprehensive Plan, I will go over that briefly. The Wichita Places for People Plan, which is an amendment to the Comprehensive Plan. The Historic Preservation Plan, and then I'll briefly just discuss the College Hill neighborhood planning process, which is currently going on. We wanted to highlight these, the information following this slide. We'll be highlighting potentially relevant text within these plans regarding the listing of the Crown Uptown Theater to the Wichita Register of Historic Places. Next slide, please. So the Community Investments Plan, or the Comprehensive Plan, the mission statement of the document is for people to feel safe and enjoy affordable housing choices in diverse, vibrant neighborhoods offering unique quality living environments and active, healthy lifestyles with access to arts, culture, and recreation. The listing of the property on the Wichita Register of Historic Places would help to formally recognize the property for its contribution to creating a unique and quality living environment. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in the ECA, or the Established Central Area. The ECA, the Places for People Plan, recommends that there's an urban infill strategy for the ECA. It recommends improvement in these areas, and that the improvement should continue to continue the area's momentum and strengthen the established context of the ECA. There is a section regarding arts, culture, and recreation goals and strategies. The goal says to improve the quality of life and healthy lifestyles for all through an accessible system of arts, culture, library, recreation, and open space facilities. Strategy C within that section states that the city should utilize relationships with private and not-for-profit organizations and secure dedicated funding sources for the construction, maintenance, and operation of our quality of life investments, including parks and open space, recreation, library, and cultural arts facilities. Next slide, please. The area is located in a regional center node that is consistent with the intent of regional centers to serve commercial and institutional needs of the wider region. Regional centers provide a mixed-use destination for residential, office, retail, and entertainment uses, drawing people from throughout the region. Next slide, please. Continuing with the Places for People Plan text, a goal of the plan is to promote walkable development that is oriented towards people, balancing the use of automobiles. Strategies include creating walkable destinations that support various neighborhoods throughout the ECA, encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment, and the existing use of the subject property promotes walkable mixed-use development. Next slide, please. The Wichita Historic Preservation Plan, which was adopted in April of 2001, specifically states that the goal is to nominate and designate all known historic resources which meet designation criteria for historic landmarks, historic districts, or conservation districts. The objective is to designate additional properties, is to get more properties from the undesignated historic resource list onto the Wichita Register of Historic Places. And the Crown Uptown Theater was identified in the inventory of Wichita's undesignated historic resources in 1991. That is located in the Historic Preservation Plan. Next slide, please. Just a note to highlight the College Hill neighborhood planning process. We are currently going through that. The formal College Hill neighborhood plan has not been approved. That is scheduled for July 15th at the city council level, but this is just to let you know that planning staff has been working with multiple College Hill stakeholders to develop a College Hill neighborhood plan. And that plan has been recommended for approval by DAB 1, the Advanced Plans Committee, and the MAPC. Of course, the Crown Uptown Theater is located in the College Hill neighborhood. Next slide, please. Again, the recommended action today is to determine whether the listing of the subject property to the Wichita Register of Historic Places is consistent with the adopted plans, and then to transmit such findings to the City Council. I'm available for any questions.
Justin, I've got a question. The application for the registration, for the historical registration, was done by the city of Wichita, not the property owner.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
How many applications in the past has the city of Wichita done like this?
It's been, I don't think we've done one for several decades.
Okay. Yeah, I'm disappointed that the property owner's not here. You know, a lot of my concerns on this boils down to one thing. City doesn't own this property. It's owned by a private individual. And it's my understanding that he's opposed to this. And I don't possibly see how in the world that the city could initiate this against the property owner's will. There's a property rights issue here. This building is 97 years old. And it seems odd that all of a sudden, after 97 years, that there's such a major push to get this on the register because the property owner in the past at the public meetings here has said he was going to tear it down. You know, we've had other buildings that are on the register. Perfect example is Mead Corner that used to be there on Douglas and St. Francis, I believe. That got torn down and bank got put up. Not a word was said about that. You know, so this is, you know, some of the problems that I have on that. Yeah, I'm just confused how the city can do this actually legally. I don't understand that. Anybody else have any questions or statement? Commissioner Nix?
Kind of along the same lines. I mean, you went through, I don't know how many owners this thing's gone through, but a number of them, right?
Correct.
4, is that what it's been? And so everyone's had ample opportunity, I would assume, to get this thing on the historic register in the past. What kept us from doing that? They just don't want to? Is there some reason for bucking the system and not wanting to be on the register?
We just haven't received any applications from the private property owners throughout those years of ownership.
Seem a little odd to you? Doesn't seem odd. Seems odd to me, but I'm kind of odd.
Commissioner Mader?
Not sure if I'm out of place here in my thoughts and comments, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. My experience has been a lot of people just think it's difficult and it's going to restrict their use. So people avoid it. People absolutely avoid it because they're afraid it's going to restrict their use. I've put several properties on a historic registry, both local, state, and federal, and it's a wonderful deal if you're going to do a renovation for tax credits. If this was carried forward to federal, which I don't see why it wouldn't be able to, you can pick up as much as 45% of your expenses for tax credits. Why it's never been done, I don't know, but it certainly is beneficial to these old properties.
Commissioner Williams, eh?
Have any of the previous owners threatened to tear the building down?
Not to our knowledge.
I think that's correct. Not to our knowledge, and to our knowledge, there's not been another property owner that has filed for a demolition permit.
Yeah, I'm sort of curious whether or not, you know, if there's a mortgage on this or not. I mean, if there's a mortgage, it's not going to happen. You know, again, I'm disappointed that he's not here. You know, we're being asked to determine whether or not the Wichita historical, I almost said hysterical. Yeah, same. If this meets all the, you know, those criteria, you know, with the neighborhood plans and everything else, there's a hidden thing here, and the property owners got property rights in this country, or at least I still think we have some property rights, and I'm just confused and a little bit shocked that the city of Wichita and other groups that don't have a financial interest as far as ownership on this property can do this. I'm very confused about that.
If I can jump in, Sharon DeGraff, City Law Department. The ordinances as well as the state statutes allow governing bodies to ask that something be put on the historical registry. I understand the conversation about property rights. That conversation has been made at the council level. However, this board needs to come back and be focused on what it's asked to do. I can assure you that if there are property rights issues, at some point, somebody's going to determine that. But that question is not what's before this board.
I understand that, but this is so vague. Just about everything can fit in these same categories, and I just think that it's putting this board in a bad position. But that's my own opinion.
But the property owner's not here, and you're asking the board to assume facts that aren't being presented. So I want to direct the board back to what facts it has before it, and also what it's being asked to do as part of this stage in the process.
I understand that, but those comments and facts were based on previous public meetings that we've had right here. Any additional comments from anyone on the commission? Hearing none, since the property owner is not here, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Yes, sir. Can you please state your name and address?
Arthur Allen, 115 South Rutan. I've spoken now. This is the third time I've been before you on this same matter, and has been brought before you, as the legal has said. You're given a very specific group of facts supported by the architect, and the historical board similarly had questions as you have, but they were doing as they were instructed to do and what you were instructed to do. He didn't appear, and nobody from the law firm or his architect appeared at the previous meeting as well. Everybody completely befuddled that if he really cares. Our understanding is that, yes, he has a mortgage with a bank in Oklahoma City that has restrictions on it to this very fact, but he still chose to file for demolition as a bullying tactic as we look at it. But if you could please stay within the parameters of what you're instructed to do and sworn to do on this council, you will find that it needs to be going forward. As we know, and you mentioned, there's been other times, as in the J.R. Mead facility or property, that people change their minds and they tear things down anyway. But we're given specific instructions within the legal department on how to handle this. I would appreciate it if you go forward with it. It's not going to stop anything really at this point, but it is a very important step to possibly saving it for the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this matter? Last opportunity. Is there anybody from the public who want to speak on this matter? If not, I don't know if we can do Justin, do you want to rebuttal or any additional comments? If not, yes, Commissioner Warren.
I got a question in terms of what our instructions are. There are basically, if I read this report right, 4 items on, I don't know, the page says Wichita Registry of Historic Places instructions, A, B, C, and D. Those are the criteria that we're looking at to determine whether or not this should go forward with our endorsement. Is that a fair statement?
So the task of the MAPC is to determine whether the listing of the property to the Wichita Register of Historic Places conforms with the plans and policies that we have discussed today. So there are 4 plans and policies that we specifically highlighted in the staff report, including the comprehensive plan, the historic preservation plan, the Places for People plan, and then just to let you know about the College Hill neighborhood planning process. So really 3 documents, and ultimately property, it is up to the MAPC to determine whether or not the listing of this property conforms with those plans and policies.
So if I don't think that the criteria has been met, then that would be my ability to vote against it?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mader?
To me, again, with legal, we're being asked to determine if we believe this qualifies to be on the registry and if it conforms to plans. And none of the other facts that have gone on in the world about this have anything to do with today. They're all out there, but they have nothing to do with our determination today specifically.
The Historical Preservation Committee, and I'm sure Justin will correct me if I'm wrong, have already made the determination that it meets the factors to be on the historical registry. So this step is for you to determine whether or not the listing of that property is consistent with the existing plans that Justin has enumerated.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve and find that it's consistent, this step is consistent with and conforms with the Community Investments Plan, the Wichita Places for People Plan, and the Wichita Historic Preservation Plan, and the College Hill Neighborhood Planning Process.
We have a motion and we have a second to approve based on staff recommendations and comments. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. Yes, please do a roll call vote.
Yes, sir. Fry is absent. Mader?
Yes.
McKay?
Yes.
Dool is absent. Bill Johnson?
Yes.
High?
Yes.
Nix?
Yes.
Clontz is absent. Warren?
No.
Joe Johnson is absent. Miles?
Yes.
Zimbelman?
Yes.
Aldrich?
No.
Williams Bay?
Yes.
Sir, I show 2 votes opposed, which means with 8 members total, 8 in favor.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is conditional use 2025-00073. This is for vehicle storage and equipment sales, 25th Street North and North Hamilton. Christina.
Thank you. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present Con 2025-00073. The applicant is requesting a conditional use to allow vehicle and equipment sales outdoor on a property zoned limited commercial. The property is a little bit over a 1/4 acre in size and located on the southeast corner of North Amidon and West 26th Street. It is currently developed with a vacant building previously used for a self-service car wash. Vehicle and equipment sales are subject to supplementary use regulations in the Unified Zoning Code, and if approved, the applicant shall comply with these regulations. Just an overview of the supplementary use regulations. The property must be on a major street, must be lit and screened properly to protect the adjacent properties, must be paved, comply with noise regulations, might not provide outside repair work, prohibits various signs, and prohibits elevated platforms. A site visit by staff confirms that the applicant largely meets or will meet most of the requirements if approved for the conditional use. So if we just want to go ahead and skip to the site plan slide, please. Just want to talk about how the applicant intends to utilize a 3,600 square foot building as the office and 11 parking spaces, including 2 accessible spaces directly south of the building. The zoning code requires 1 parking space per 500 square feet of building floor area, plus 2 spaces for the first 10,000 square feet of area used for sales or storage purposes, 1 space for each 10,000 feet used for sales, display, or storage purposes. So the applicant meets the parking requirements for this site. The applicant is also required to install screening and landscaping where abutting residential zoning on the east and south sides. The Wichita Landscape Code requires 1 shade tree or 2 ornamental trees per 40 lineal feet. Landscape plans must be submitted before the building permits are issued. We are still in the drought restrictions, and so they are not required to install that landscaping until the restrictions have been lifted. A little bit of case history. The Board of Zoning Appeals granted a use exception, which we now call a conditional use, for the car wash that you see the building there for. There was a conditional use request for a wireless communications tower in 2003, but that request was withdrawn. The requested conditional use is in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The future growth concept map identifies the area as appropriate for commercial uses. However, when we look at the the locational guidelines, which provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes, one of the compatibility guidelines states that higher intensity development should be discouraged from locating in areas of existing lower intensity development, particularly established low-density residential areas. So the applicant is requesting a higher intensity use within the immediate vicinity of single-family dwellings that are at least 50 years old. This would also introduce a new use in the area that is not in the immediate vicinity. Just with a quick Google Maps search, the nearest vehicle sales lots, we have 1 mile north at 33rd and Amadon, and then one at 25th and North Arkansas Avenue. It is not in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan lists strategies that help guide the community with their actions to create walkable places within Wichita. Strategy 6 aims to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. The anticipated redevelopment, in conjunction with the adjacent residential dwellings and a gas station, it may encourage a more predominantly automobile-oriented intersection. It may not encourage a balance of transportation modes. And the Places for People plan, it is a place that provides for the movement of people on foot and bike and through transit in balance with automobiles. Staff is recommending denial of the application. Our findings are based on the golden rules, which are listed in your staff report. I still have not received any comments from the public on this requested conditional use. Should the MAPC approve the conditional use, we recommend adopting alternative findings and approving with the conditions that are listed in your staff report, essentially limited to the sale of cars and light pickup trucks, no trailers, boats, motorcycles, scooters, RVs, or trucks larger than pickups, no outside repair of vehicles. All improvements to the property must be finished before car sales can begin. The site must be developed in accordance with the approved site plan. A conditional use amendment is required for any of these changes, any additional changes, I'm sorry. And the site shall be developed in compliance with all federal, state, and local rules and regulations. And lastly, if the zoning administrator finds that there is a violation of any of these conditions, then they have the right to declare the conditional use null and void. So let's go through some of the photos here, please. This is looking east towards the site from North Amadon Avenue. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the site. This is off of West 25th Street, or 26th Street, sorry. Next slide, please. This is looking west towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site across the street. We have a gas station. Next slide, please. This is looking east away from the site. This is showing the existing screening as well as the single-family residential dwellings on site. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. As we can see, it's adjacent to another single-family dwelling. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site. This is North Amadon Avenue showing more single-family dwellings. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos, and with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Questions for Christina? Saying none, is the agent and applicant?
Yes. Would you like a couple?
My name is Rahim Al-Shamari. I'm the owner of this property and the plaza next to it. The plaza was 6% vacant, and this property was vacant for years. So I remodel everything. Now the plaza is 100% equipped, and this one I have 3 guys want to rent it, but they asked to get a permission to get a auto sale license. And the recommendation here says, there's 5 points, says it is mostly a residential area. Of course, it's residential area, but there is a commercial building. There is 5 of them at the same area. My plaza, gas station, this property, cross the road. Behind this property, there is a warehouse. I don't know what kind of warehouse, small one. It's not residential. The second one, they said this area is not that cause pollution and the vision something. So what kind of pollution? I mean, it's a street, it's a main street, and there is a gas station, and there is a big parking lot. So what kind of pollution comes to there? And then the other one says it was vacant for years. Yes, it was vacant for years. Used to be a car wash, and it was completely, damaged. So I spent thousands of dollars on it to fix it, and I rebuilt it again. And I want to make money from this one. So all the people who come to rent it, they ask to rent it as an auto sale. And the other thing says again, the number 5 again, they say pollution. I don't know what kind of pollution in this one. Thank you.
Sir, I didn't catch your address. Could you repeat your name and address, please, for our record?
Rahim El-Shamari. I'm from 7 Iris Lane, Bellingham, Massachusetts. I used to live here in Wichita, but I moved.
Okay. Commissioner Mader?
Yes, sir. Do you own the filling station building too?
Which one?
The gas station
No,
building?
not the gas station, but the plaza. Yeah.
Is the gas station open right now? Is it functioning?
Yeah, it's open.
Okay, as a gas station?
As a gas station.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sir, have you read the conditions in the event that this is approved from staff report? There are 7 different conditions.
Yeah, on the back. Yeah, I read it. Yes, sir.
Okay, do you support those recommendations?
I will support because it says sell small cars and small pickup trucks. So they sell small cars. They don't sell large, big trucks, for example. And the rest of them, I read it all. We can't support those. It's simple. It's not. It's easy. It's not hard to.
Okay, is there any additional questions for the applicant? Seeing none, is there anyone? Yes, Commissioner High.
So,
will this location be used for repair of autos or just sales of autos?
Used to be for repair?
Repair.
No, it wasn't for repair. It was a car wash.
But now you're going to want it to sell?
Yeah, I mean,
cars?
they will use it like storage, and they use office, and then they want, the dealer always need to fix their car, but not paint or body shop, none. No, but they fix the car and details, they do details, something like that. And then I have a big lot on both sides, and it's good, it's fit for auto sale.
Thank you.
With the property zone, limited commercial vehicle repair is already a permitted right on the site too, so.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, sir. Now, you realize this is a conditional use in the event that you don't follow through on some of these items, it will be pulled away from you and you won't have that thing approved. You understand that?
No.
Scott?
Yes, sir, if I could. Sir, I think what Commissioner Johnson is referring to is that those conditions that are at the end of the report that there was discussion about, and you said you were in agreement, you could live with those.
Yeah.
I think what Commissioner Johnson is trying to point out is that if this is approved with those conditions, and if for any circumstance, someone who's using the property and ultimately you are found to be in violation of any of those conditions, you could lose the conditional use, which grants you the ability to do the auto sales there. So I think he's just trying to make sure that you're aware of that.
I will show those conditions to the tenant, and I have him to sign on the contract. He should be responsible for that. Yeah.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone from the general public that would like to speak on this matter? I'm not seeing any. Yes, Commissioner Hughes?
So I was driving by the other day and pulled into the church parking lot, which is right behind it. There's a guy sitting there in a car, and I asked him, told him what was about to happen over there, and he was more than happy to have something in there. When I drove around to the back of that car wash, there were 3 homeless people camped out in the back of that parking lot. On the other side of the fence, the church has a mobile home in disrepair. I mean, just on the other side of the fence. And they are in the process this week of cleaning it up, and there's a young couple moving into that mobile home on Monday, family of 5. So with that diatribe, I'd like to move that we approve this, including those 7 conditions that staff has listed.
Second. Do we have a motion for approval based on the 7 comments that staff has given us? We have a second. Any additional comments?
Yes, sir. If I could, just a clarification question. With the findings, so because it was recommended for denial, I think what I've heard is that in support of this motion is that you believe that the property is suitable for this use. It would be very suitable for auto sales, and that it will not have detrimental effects to nearby properties, and in fact will improve conditions for nearby properties because it will be an active use at the site.
I think that's what it said.
That's what our motion maker on the second heard the same thing, I'm sure. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion has passed unanimously. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 4.7. That's a zone case 2025-00026. Brad, you're up.
Yes, thank you, Chair and or Vice Chair and Commission. Brad Etherly for MAPD. This is Zone 2025-00026. And for this case, the applicant is requesting a zone change from LI, Limited Industrial, to GC, General Commercial District, to permit a multifamily residential development. The site is a 0.25 acre site that is generally located between South Laura Avenue and South Patty Avenue and is within 350 feet north of Highway 54-400. The exact addresses are 428 South Laura and 427 South Patty. The property at 428 South Laura was developed as a single-family dwelling, but as recently as 2024 and now is undeveloped. The property at 427 South Patty is undeveloped, but was developed with a single-family dwelling as recently as 2011. The applicant would like to develop the multifamily residential uses, which are not permitted in the LI district. And the applicant is proposing to build the multifamily development out of storage containers. A similar development is located southeast of the subject site, and that property received a zone change from LI to GC in 2007, which also incorporated the school to the south of the property that's requesting this zone change. And I've got pictures that will kind of show some of that stuff later on. The GC district does accommodate moderate density residential development up to a density of 75.1 dwelling units per acre. And this would allow for up to 18 units on the property. The table in the staff report compares the development standards of each zoning district. Compatibility setback and height standards would not apply if the subject site is developed with a single-family dwelling or a duplex. No screening standards or landscape street yard would apply. Because the proposed development is not along arterial streets, nor is it across the street from residential zoning, the sites would not need to comply with the Wichita Landscape Code, and solid screening would not be required because the site abuts the GC and LI districts. The applicant would be required to adhere to the off-street parking schedule found in the UZC, which for multifamily, the parking requirement is 1.25 parking stalls per efficiency in one-bedroom dwelling units and 1.75 parking stalls per 2 bedrooms or larger units. The character of the neighborhood is a mix of residential, commercial, and light industrial. Property to the north of the South Laura Avenue site is zoned LI and is developed with single-family dwellings. Property to the north of the South Patty site is zoned LI, is owned by the city of Wichita and is undeveloped. Properties to the east are zoned LI and are developed with single-family dwellings. And then across from South Patty Avenue, an office warehouse combination. Property to the south is zoned GC and is developed with multifamily dwellings. And property to the west across South Avenue are zoned LI and LC limited commercial and are developed with single-family dwellings. And then, of course, like I said earlier, southeast of the South Patty Avenue site is a development of that multifamily buildings built in the same manner as the proposed use for this request. The sites were platted as part of the Hunter's Third Edition in 1889, and there have been no other zoning cases associated with these properties. Subject sites do have access to South Laura and South Patty Avenues. City services such as water and sewer do serve the sites, and Wichita Transit serves the site on the southwest and northwest corners of South Patty Avenue and East Waterman Street, which is approximately 900 feet to the north. The requested zone changes in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The 2035 Future Growth Map recommends the South Laura Avenue site as appropriate for industrial, while the South Patty Avenue site is appropriate for commercial. And so while the industrial designation does not typically allow for residential uses, there are several other residential uses along both South Patty and South Laura. And this is a neighborhood with a large mixture of commercial, industrial, institutional, and residential uses on the surrounding blocks. As far as the commercial designation, commercial zoning does allow for multifamily as a use. As far as the locational guidelines go, under the heading of land use compatibility, guideline 2B states that accessory dwelling units, duplexes, and small-scale multifamily developments can be appropriate in existing residential areas if appropriate site design limits adverse impacts on surrounding residential uses. The design of the buildings is compatible with existing residences, and the scale of the development is compatible with the intensity of the surrounding area. And the multifamily that's being proposed is compatible in design and scale with the nearby multifamily dwellings. The requested zone change is also in conformance with the goals of the Wichita Places for People Plan. Strategy number 6 states to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. With the GC districts and the multifamily developments that are located to the south and southeast of the subject site, we feel that those are met. And then as far as the central northeast area plan update, the proposed rezoning is in conformance with it as well. The plan calls for promoting new home construction and that the rate of new home construction exceeds the housing demolition rate. If we can go to the site pics. So this is looking into the site from South Laura, looking east, next picture. This is looking east. This is actually off of South Patty, looking southeast at the similar proposal. Now this, I do not know if this is owned by the same owners or if this is what they have in mind, but this was part of the zone change from LI to GC that occurred in, I believe, 2009. And so I just wanted to put that picture up, that it's just catty corner to the South Patty site. Next picture. This is looking west into the South Patty site. Next picture. This is looking north from the South Laura site. Next picture. This is looking north from the South Patty site. Next picture. This is looking east away from the South Patty site. Next picture. This is looking south away from the Laura Avenue site. Next picture. And this is looking south from the South Patty site. And this is part of the school district that was part of that zone change as well, and is now multifamily. So I believe that was the last picture. Oh, this is looking west away from the South Laura site. Okay. And so based on the information available, staff does recommend approval of the zone change. I can say that we have not received any public comment to this date, and these are based off the golden factors, and I can stand for any question.
Brad, thank you. Is there any commissioners got any questions or concerns for Brad? Yes, Commissioner Wednesday.
Is there a neighborhood association in this area? Have they been contacted?
If there is, they would have gotten receipt of the notice. I don't know off the top of my head if there was a neighborhood association included.
Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Warren.
I think that my question is process. If we approve this and he wants to go in with a storage type unit housing, who oversees that and what kind of regulations do we have for this, for like ingress and egress, window space, ingress into the buildings and out? What control do we have and what happens with that?
That would be handled under the building permitting by the Metropolitan Area Building and Construction Department.
Do we have any rules and regulations on what proper construction on those is?
They will. It won't be a planning function, but the MABCD does. I'm sure they'll have to have engineering on these items because they are storage containers, so not made to be dwellings.
We don't have any specific regulations referencing storage containers as housing, but they would have to require with any minimal housing and or construction requirements that are in the Unified Building Trade Code, which is building. Sedgwick County, Wichita Unified Building Code.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, is the agent or applicant here?
Daniel Ginch, 8720 East Stone Ridge Lane. I am the agent's applicant with Sheldon Architecture. Happy to field any questions.
Sir, the conditions that staff has listed for approval, do you concur with those 7 recommendations?
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Commissioner McKay? None. Commissioner Wednesday, anything? Nope.
Yeah, have you had any discussions with the neighbors concerning this?
Outside of the agent's requirement to notify within whatever the radius was that he followed through with, we haven't heard any public comment. And there was a question asked with regards to the owner of the adjacent development. It is the same developer.
Any additional questions? Sir, thank you. Hang tight. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this matter? If so, please come to the podium, state your name and your address for our records. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Forgive the familiarity here, a young man that I haven't seen for quite some years. And so good to see you again. My name is Steve Brunk, Brunk Realty, 8119 East Champions Court. We're here to object to this. I'm here on behalf of the owner of the property on Patty Street. As you've seen from most of those pictures, the majority of this area surrounding those two lots that they're wanting rezoning on are residential houses. The storage containers that have been converted are across the street and they're in between two commercial buildings. And so it's not really that disruptive on that side of the street. But as soon as you move over here, you're moving these things into the middle of a residential neighborhood. And as I talked to some of the individual neighbors that live there, they're quite concerned about that. I would tell you that this is a neighborhood that has been very, very stable. The owner of the property that will be immediately next door, his parents purchased that property. He grew up there, went to the school when it was Kellogg School. He was in kindergarten at the time. He's still the current owner since 1954 now. When I did my due diligence in the neighborhood, I looked back to see if the neighborhood was stable or if there was a lot of coming and going. And so because I am a real estate broker, I have access to the multiple listing service system. So I went back to see how many houses had been sold and people moved residentially from Washington Street to Hydraulic and from Kellogg up to Douglas. It's a pretty standard conforming neighborhood right there. And in the last year, there were none. I went back in the previous year, there were still none. Ultimately, I ended up going back 6 years before I found any properties that had sold in that area. And so what that told me is that the people that live in that area, it's a very, very stable neighborhood. People like to stay in there. I would also reference some of the properties, like in any neighborhood, are rental properties. The owner that I'm here to represent, he has rented out that property. I am his landlord. The tenant is here today. She's taken off work from a place that I don't think she probably really can afford to do that. But it's so concerning to her that she was able to take off work. She's been in that property next door to where we want to put these storage containers for 19 years. And so when you talk about stability in the neighborhood, from a landlord-tenant perspective and also from people that live and own in that neighborhood, it's a very, very stable neighborhood. There are some commercial buildings in the area. There's been a very good symbiotic relationship between the residential and the commercial development that's there. But these storage containers, when you look at the pictures that you have, some of it almost looks park-like. But when you get up close to them and take pictures, they really are. I don't want to denigrate it and call them tin cans.
Mr. Brunk, your time is up. Can you wrap it up, please, real quick?
I can. We object to this. We feel like this is an intrusion into the residential neighborhood and will be an extraordinary loss of value for the existing owners and for the existing landlords in the neighborhood. And we would ask you not to approve this.
Well, thank you. Is there any questions for Mr. Brunk? Seeing none.
3 minutes goes by in a nanosecond.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on it? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address for our records, and you also have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Downing. I own 421 South Lower, right across the street from the proposed area. I've owned that house since the late 90s. Like going back to the previous gentleman, I was probably the last person to buy a house on that street. And that was, I mean, everybody that's been on that street has been there since I've owned the house for the last 20 years. I disapprove this project. It seems like it could be back onto a kind of a destruction to the neighborhood, and also more, you know, I don't want to turn into a shipping yard. You know, you start adding containers, you start adding things that aren't really houses or American-made houses. You know, you're putting a box on a piece of property, so to speak. I'm totally against this and said it would definitely be detrimental to the neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any questions for the speaker? Yes.
421 South Laura.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Please come to the podium, state your name, address, and you also have 3 minutes.
To start off, I'm not a great public speaker. I live at 421 South Patty, directly next door to where they're going to build or put these containers. I object to them because, number one, in my opinion, they'll be an eyesore. It's going to invite also more foot traffic, homeless people that come across from the bridge, more targets to break into, cars and stuff. I've had my car stolen on this street. But like Mr. Brunk said, it is a stable neighborhood for the most part. I love living there. I've been there for 19 years, and this is just going to destroy our neighborhood as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Carolyn Abbott.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Ms. Abbott? Hearing none, is there any, thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, you have a few minutes for rebuttal, sir.
I appreciate everyone's comments. The agent was disappointed that he wasn't going to be able to be here today. I was happy to stand in for him. Just a couple things. I understand everyone's concern. I understand where it's coming from. We participated in adaptive reuse of facilities that weren't previously slated as residential with this client before successfully, and changed vacant properties to quality properties that are maintained. The school, Kellogg School, is an example of that. He preserved that building, and it's got steady tenants, and it's not decreased the value of the neighborhood properties. It's promoted the sustainability of an existing building and provided affordable housing. So that is this client, my agent's goal. He's successfully done this before, time and time again, and he's here for the long haul. He's not trying to flip a property. We've also got experience, adaptive reuse of shipping containers. We did Revolution. That didn't decrease the value of the neighborhood surrounding Revolution. If anything, it increased. So I just would, I'd say I understand where you're coming from. People think of shipping containers and they think shipping containers, but we would follow all codes. These would be, we would follow all building codes, and these would be safe places to live. And but I understand where you're coming from.
Sir, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Warren.
In general, I've been a supporter of using storage containers for affordable housing, but I've always assumed that there would be a certain amount of dressing up. This looks like a coat of paint. Is there any thought to giving a little more effort into dressing these things up other than that?
We could certainly bring that to the developer's attention. We don't know. We haven't gotten to the point where we've actually designed anything on this site, and we weren't responsible for helping him with the design of the original development. But we could bring any concerns to the table to him.
Commissioner Johnson.
Would you be okay to defer this where you could get with the neighbors and maybe work something out where both sides approve and bring it back?
That would be Tom's decision, the agent, and or the applicant. I'm just the agent, and I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds like they would say no. So I'm not sure what kind of agreement others outside of don't develop the empty lots.
Okay. Any other commissioner have any questions?
I don't have any questions, just a comment overall. And I'm a supporter of the shipping container homes or properties or whatever. My struggle is, unlike Revolution, you're talking about putting something down next to just normal houses that just doesn't fit with the character of the neighborhood at all. I'm a little disappointed that there were some others that apparently have already been placed in that neighborhood, but I think it's important that we maintain the character of our neighborhoods, and I think there's a place that we put these shipping container homes. I just don't happen to think that this is the right place. I wouldn't want one plopped down in the middle of my neighborhood. I certainly don't feel comfortable with plopping one down in the middle of somebody else's just regular residential neighborhood, so.
Thank you. Yes.
This is currently zoned limited industrial. In my opinion, one of the worst things that we've ever done in Wichita is zone that whole neighborhood limited industrial. It's made it an unbelievable place to try to get a remodeling permit on a home. These are zoned limited industrial. We know what could be built on them. If we zone it, if we change it to something that a house could be built on, it could be any kind of a home. We're not approving shipping containers, we're approving residential. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I guess that's my thoughts. It being limited industrial, and we could do a lot worse.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, I guess thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll bring it back to the commission for additional discussions. Is there a motion either for approval or for denial?
I'm going to move we approve according to staff comment.
Is there a second? Is there a second? That motion has failed.
I'm going to move to deny this application.
Second.
We have a substitute motion to deny the application, and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'd be 8 to 1, is that correct?
I believe 9 to 1, sir.
Somebody was hiding on me over there. Okay, the motion passed for denial. Thank you. The next agenda item is 4.8, DER 2025-0008. This was deferred from June the 12th. Justin.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commission. Justin Constantino with the Planning Department. Next slide, please. So the recommended action for this afternoon is to adopt a resolution approving a proposed amendment of the City of Wichita 2035 Urban Growth Areas Map and 2035 Future Growth Concept Map as an element of the Community Investments Plan 2015 through 2035, which is the comprehensive plan, and recommend adoption by the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. Quick overview, I will discuss how this relates to the comprehensive plan, a little bit of background on the history of the comprehensive plan. I will discuss how this item was originally initiated back by the City Council. The comprehensive plan amendments are specifically to the 2035 Urban Growth Areas Map and the Future Growth Areas Map. I will go into greater detail, specifically where and how those maps come into play, and then discuss municipal services and future development in the proposed amended area. Next slide, please. So the comprehensive plan was adopted by the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County in 2015 and 2016, respectively. The comprehensive plan recommends guidance for future growth in the City of Wichita. It sets overall community investment priorities, provides decision-making framework to guide future public infrastructure and development, and it includes both the Urban Growth Areas Map and the Future Growth Concept Map. Next slide, please. This item was initiated originally by the City Council on May 6, 2025, unanimously initiated a comprehensive plan amendment. The area that we're specifically discussing this afternoon is the area near 55th Street South and Ridge Road. I will show that on a map momentarily. Next slide, please. The urban growth areas map that you see on your screen here depicts the long-term growth patterns of the cities of Sedgwick County. It is not binding or prescriptive in nature. It serves as a reasonable indication where future efficient and fiscally responsible extension of public infrastructure and services could occur by 2035. Next slide, please. It also depicts the preferred, the future growth concept map, which is the second map that we're discussing, depicted here, shows the preferred 2035 future growth pattern for the city of Wichita. That sidebar that you can't see shows the future land uses. That is the coloring on the map there. It shows the established central area, or the ECA, the Wichita city limits, and the small city limits. Next slide, please. Comprehensive plan amendments that we are discussing this afternoon are both to the 2035 urban growth areas map and the future growth concept map. Modifications would remove the following area from the Wichita growth area depicted on your screen in that hatched blue area. The areas that are being recommended to be modified is 47th Street to the north, Hoover to the east, 119th Street to the west, and halfway between 55th Street and 63rd Street to the south. Next slide, please. This is the amended 2035 urban growth areas map, a little bit more zoomed out, but you can still see that hatched blue area. That's the area in question currently. Next slide, please. Here is the 2035 future growth concept map, again zoomed out so you can see the area that we're discussing this afternoon. Next slide, please. Here's a more zoomed in map. This is the 2035 future growth concept map. Again, same area on both maps, but we wanted to show you both zoomed in and zoomed out of the proposed area that we're discussing. Next slide, please. Regarding municipal services and future development in the specific area, floodplains, there are 100-year floodplains in the area. In terms of funding for both police and fire, there are no funding for police stations or fire stations in the area in the future. Next slide, please. Future land uses in that specific area, there are both agricultural and vacant future land uses, as well as industrial and commercial. Next slide, please. Municipal services and future development streets, currently in the CIP, no funding for roadway improvements in the area. Solar energy conversion systems near the intersection of 55th Street and Ridge Road, approximately half mile west is the Murray Gill substation. Next slide, please. As far as contamination goes, that's that yellow area that you see partially within that orange rectangle. KDHE records indicate groundwater contamination generally located near the Vulcan chemical plant, formerly OxyChem. Next slide, please. Water service, this is from the CIP, water main extensions along MacArthur from 119th Street halfway between Mays Road and Tyler Road. So you can see those water main extensions in yellow on that map. Next slide, please. As far as airports go, those are those blue blobs on the map. Just north of that orange rectangle is the Dwight Eisenhower National Airport. Next slide, please. As far as the approval process goes, this item was reviewed by the Advanced Plans Committee. As far as how that played out, the Advanced Plans Committee reviewed this. The vote was 3-3 at the meeting, and immediately following the vote, legal counsel advised that a tied vote is a recommendation for denial. So that's what occurred at the Advanced Plans Committee when they heard this. It is your responsibility to review this today and then make a recommendation to the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. Again, the recommended action is to adopt a resolution approving the proposed amendment to the City of Wichita 2035 Urban Growth Areas Map and 2035 Future Growth Concept Map as an element of the comprehensive plan, and recommend adoption by the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. I believe that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
A couple things. Want to mention that Commissioner Hunix had to leave, so we're down to 9. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, down to 9.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did have one note on the staff report, just a clarification item. The staff report states that staff has reviewed, that legal staff has reviewed the resolution. Legal staff has not fully reviewed the resolution that is attached as part of your agenda packet. The resolution that's in there, it's solely for the MAPC and does not go on to the governing body. Staff will get that resolution reviewed and revised if necessary to prepare for your final signature. So I just wanted to let you know that there's that line in there about legal review in your staff report. We're still working on that item.
Okay, and I also like to point out that corrections to the revised staff report that was put out, it says that on it that the Advanced Plans Committee recommends to the full body MAPC approval of the proposed. You touch bases on it with a vote of 3-3. The advanced plans did not recommend approval on this. With a 3-3 vote, as you stated earlier, that is a denial. But I also want to make a comment on that. It wasn't necessarily, the reason wasn't because of what was proposal for the proposal itself. It was more so of the process that had some issues with. So, Justin, thank you. Is there any of the commissioners have any comments or any questions for Justin? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to speak on this matter? Is there anyone from the general public like to speak on this matter? Nope. Yes, sir. Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mark Burkamp. My address is 8431 West 47th Street South, Clearwater, Kansas 67026. I live in this area. We farm in this area. We own land in this area along with other neighbors. The urban growth area issue on in this meeting is relevant to our family and the surrounding landowners. We agree with county staff recommendations to carve out this portion of Wichita's UGA. Our area is largely bordered by industrial development, OxyChem, Evonik, Viterra Grain, and the old Murraygill power plant, now a large substation. We have gas lines, transmission lines, distribution line easements in the area as well. Being located south of the airport also precludes many of the requirements for future residential and commercial developments, such as retention ponds and other stormwater control requirements that we see in most of the new neighborhoods. And they do work, by the way. My brother-in-law lives in Eastboro, and they had so much water after that big downstorm. I could drive around new neighborhoods, and they had a lot less issues. This area is not in any long-range plans for development. There's no plans to extend water or sewer down here. And we don't really need that. Being in Wichita's UGA is in fact a hindrance to potential development in this area. This potential development could bolster the local economy. It could set the greater Wichita area apart from other cities, potentially bring in a new industry. Could take Wichita to the next level when competing with other communities. Some of these would include data centers, manufacturing facilities, transportation, ag and food processing facilities. They're just a few examples of businesses that look to integrate renewable energy into their operations to reduce cost, improve sustainability, and improve their reputation as sustainable and responsible businesses. In closing, I would just like to reiterate the highest and best use for this area is not achievable being in Wichita's UGA. Wichita and the surrounding communities would greatly benefit from following county staff recommendations on this issue. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Burkamp, thank you for your comments. One of the comments that we have in the staff report has to do with a possibility location for solar energy. Is that something that you're looking at profitizing off of in the future?
Myself, along with probably 10 or 11 family landowners in the area could potentially benefit from a solar project that we are receiving option payments from and have been for the last year and a half.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Does anybody else have any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this matter from the public? Seeing no other comment, I'll bring it back to the commission. Justin, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Any comments or any questions from the commission? Yeah, the only thing that I'm concerned with is basically, again, was the process on that. This is in the county. It's not the city. It was the city that I guess initiated this, for their reasons. And really, the only question that I have would be directed to staff. My concern was the county commission and whether or not they've had any input, any thoughts on this. And I guess that's still my question as of today. Has the county commission chimed in on this? And I also do want to make it known that I've had ex parte communication on this twice, but no way, shape, or form is it going to have any bearing on my decision one way or the other.
Sir, in regards to the question about has the county commission, do they have any guidance or any direction that they've provided? And no, the county commission has not formally issued any guidance or any direction on it. What I would indicate is that I've spoken with at least one individual from the county commission who's indicated that they're very interested in seeing what the MAPC's recommendation is on it, but no formal direction or guidance from them.
Well, again, I just think it's a little odd myself that this isn't a county. It's an incorporated part of the county. They're staying quiet on this, and they're leaving it up to the city of Wichita. Oh yeah, that doesn't have any jurisdiction out there. And I'm just looking, again, the process is what my concerns are. I can care less what they put in down there. My whole thing is that process. And I just think that we're putting the cart in front of the horse. And, again, we have the city of Wichita and we have the county commission set up for a reason. One takes care of the city within their influence. I get that. And the other one has to do with the county. And we're sort of missing a part of that here. But that's the only comments that I have. Commissioner Waysby.
I'm not sure I understood or heard. Has legal had an opportunity to look at this?
I'm aware of this, but I have not thoroughly reviewed the resolution to approve it as to form. But all the drafts have come through. I was on vacation recently and haven't had time to catch up on that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rader.
I'm going to have to.
Can you speak in the mic more?
Sorry. If this whole growth area and versus solar farms, I don't understand really what it accomplishes to put this designation on it, and how does it preclude some of the developments, industrial developments they're talking about. I don't know if anyone else is so empty on knowledge, but could you help us with that?
Sure. So, first off, what's being requested is that in the comp plan, there's urban growth areas that are designated on one of the maps. And what also matches up with that is urban areas of influence as well. So that we have two different things, but the one that we're dealing with right now is urban growth areas. And in the comp plan, its representation is Justin indicated where cities are projected or expect to grow into the future and where they can provide services. So what the speaker, Mr. Burkamp, had just indicated was he made a reference to solar and potential companies and economic development in the area. I think the way that this is related to solar is that the county approved changes to the Unified Zoning Code. I think, gosh, we're going on 1-2 years, maybe just some time ago in the fairly recent past. And as part of those changes, it prevents applications from coming in for solar energy conversion systems if it's a property that's in an urban growth area. So I think the relationship that would happen then is that if this is cut out of the Wichita urban growth area, then there is the possibility, at least, that someone could come in with an application for a solar facility.
What is the current Sedgwick County solar plan on that? Well, never mind. I just answered my own questions. There isn't one.
There is not a plan for solar. There are regulations, but there's not a specific plan.
Any additional comments? Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Mader.
I have a question. It's probably inappropriate. Has this come about because we don't want solar? It sure looks to me like this is to preclude that happening. And maybe nobody can speak on that, but it seems like the question has to be asked.
What has happened is that the city council towards the end of one of their meetings, had a discussion among all the council members. The council member, obviously this is not in the city of Wichita, but of the adjoining council district, indicated that they would like to have a review of this area specifically because for a variety of factors that were brought up at floodplain service areas, access to electricity, a variety of reasons, transportation investments, et cetera, that they wanted to have a review to see if there should be any changes, modifications to the city of Wichita's urban growth area, but anywhere throughout, but especially specifically on this area. Staff, so that initiation happened at the city council. They as a group, they said, yeah, that's a good idea. So we received that. We took a look at it. We then went back to the city to make sure that we understood what we were being asked to do. We also talked about some potential options. Ultimately, this is the one that the city felt most comfortable with. And so that's the one that we took through the process and brought to advanced plans. And so now it's come to you at this point.
Well, I know some of the county's concerns were when you had other communities, whether it's Colwich or Mays or Valley or whatever, in their area of influence, that they didn't want to see potential solar farm basically shoved down their throats and say this is what's going to happen. And if you look at all the areas, just to be honest with you, probably the area that might be best suited for solar farms would be this property that we're talking about, to be honest with you. It's just, again, the process on how it's being handled. I think it could have been handled a whole lot of difference. Come from legal?
Yeah, Chair Aldrich, I just want to address your concerns about the whole process. I would point out that the governing body, the city of Wichita or Sedgwick County can raise an issue and bring it before, such as a request to amend the UGA. In terms of your major concern about having the county not have input, ultimately though, the decision will lie with the Board of County Commissioners. And so that should allay some of your concerns about the process, because the ultimate decision will eventually be the Board of County Commissioners. This is the way it came about, is so that there's a mechanism to bring an issue before the governing bodies. And in this case, it happened to be that the city council was wanting to amend the urban or carve out their UGA. But ultimately, the Board of County Commissioners will be the the final decision maker, if that helps.
And I understand it. I think there's a better way to do this. Yes, Commissioner Warren.
I think, we've been looking for, if there's a reason not to, people have had the opportunity, they'll still have opportunities after this. We just need to get it moved down the road. So with that in mind, I would move to approve as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve to move this forward. And was there a second? Yeah. Okay, so that's a double second. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we will call the vote. All of support of the adopting the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Where are we at now? Okay, now we're going to go to the non-public items. DER 2025-0010, the Sedgwick County CIP program 2026-2030.
Good afternoon again. My name is Paul Kavanaugh. I'm with County Project Services, and I'm here to talk about the CIP Capital Improvement Program. And I could tell how anxious you all were to get to this item because of the way you blazed through the rest of the agenda. I'm very impressed. Go to the next slide, please. These are the dates that we're talking about. We were here on June 12th to present this information to the Advanced Plans Committee. Now this is the 26th. We're speaking to you all on the 9th of July. It will go to the county manager and he will take it to the Board of County Commissioners. July 30th, we'll have a first public hearing to adopt it. And then August 20, the BOCC hopefully will adopt this. Next slide. Of course, we know that the purpose of the CIP is to help maintain, improve, and expand county assets other than heavy equipment, vehicles, operating equipment. Well, you can read as well as I can. It is capital improvements. Next slide. The purpose of the CIP is to identify capital needs, prioritize the capital needs, fit the prioritized needs into resources that are available from the county. And then number 4, communicate the plan to the citizens of the county. Next one. In the process, typically in October, we will send out a request to all of the department heads in the county, ask them to ask their staff for any capital improvement requests. It comes back to project services. We have a look at them, assess them, work on estimates, hire architects and engineers if we need to get good estimates for each of the projects. Then we go to the CIP committee, which is again made up of all of the department heads and other staff members to review the request. Next slide. So as you can see, there are 13 weighted criteria there, how that CIP committee prioritizes the projects. And that's done through a series of several meetings, tons of review sessions. They will ask questions and presentations of some of the requesters if this committee has questions about it or concerns, to clarify what it is that the project is thereafter. Next phase. So after that process, we end up with 4 categories. I think we've talked before. Category 1 is high priority, long-term preventive maintenance issues. Category 2, not quite as urgent, but we want to keep them on track. Category 3, we're kind of pushing them off to another year, lower sense of urgency. And category 4, we either want more additional information or they're just not that critical, and we put them on what's called the watch list. Next slide. That's current comprehensive plan, framework for the future, adopted by the county commissioners, January 20, 2016. Next slide. And the next slide. I will take you through the facilities portion of this, and then my friend from Public Works will take you through the rest of it, I hope. So category 1, part 1, again, the highest priority, long-term maintenance issues. You can kind of see there on the left side, the line items, flood control, replace roofs, replace parking lots, the emergency siren replacement and new installations, public elevator upgrades, and so on and so forth. But you'll see in the 2026, there are line items. 2027, there are costs. 2028, they begin to peel away. For instance, the emergency siren replacement and new installation, they have 4 years left on that contract for improvement and upgrade before that is completed. Flood control system, major maintenance repair, that goes on from now on. Next slide. Same category, part 2. You can see we have Public Works salt storage buildings, adult detention facility, domestic water heater. That's, to us, pretty critical. If the water heater system went down at the adult detention facility, we'd have to find a place for all of those 1,000 or so inmates to stay for a while until we got the water heater fired back up again. So that's critical. MCH, the main courthouse perimeter security, we'd like to see about bollards in front of the main doors into the courthouse to prevent vehicle penetration. A couple of things down at the bottom of this list, the Regional Forensic Science Center DNA lab building, 2026, we're looking at the architectural and engineering fees. 2027 is the construction cost. The last one is the ComCare complex. 2026 is purchase of land. 2027 is A&E fees. And 2028 is construction. Next slide. Now we are into the category 2, which are the need is not as urgent or well-defined, but should be funded with short-term horizon. And you can see things like the Munger building and the historic courthouse boiler. They're kind of beginning to run out of parts and pieces. Emergency medical system facilities, the HVA systems are wearing out. Adult detention facility generator parallel switchgear modernization. That has to do with the switchgear on the transformer and the power switching. Again, the parts and pieces are becoming obsolete. And then the fire district training site development. We talked about the Connex boxes before. They're going to use a lot of those down south Oliver at the fire station south of McConnell to serve as training areas. They can create buildings or residences inside the Connex boxes so they can train firemen to go into and put out the fires, making it like a residential fire. ADF booking and property renovation, that is again at the jail where they receive prisoners and they change them into the jumpsuits and take all of their clothes and property. They bag all of that stuff and store it. And that's become really antiquated and really smelly, if you can imagine. So we're trying to look at ways to improve that situation. Next slide. Category 2, Part 2. Again, this is out at in the 2028 realm. adult residential facility showers, emergency medical system video surveillance at 17 posts. They're experiencing quite a bit of vandalism lately, so we'd like to get some cameras out there. And ADA, ADA facility evaluation and report. About 8 years ago, they had an ADA review of all of the county facilities. Since then, we've put new facilities on the county menu, and we would like to go back to those facilities and make sure that they're ADA accessible and make sure that all of the things that were covered in the original review have been taken care of. Next slide. Category 3, on the horizon with a lower sense of urgency. You can see the extension office updates and clear and grub the FEMA parcels. They're out in the 2029, 2030 range. Next slide. These next two slides are simply the watch list, things that we need additional information or we need to study it a little bit further before we bring it up into current years. And you'll see a lot of it has to do with Lake Afton Park and Sedgwick County Park, and a handful of other projects that, again, we would like to spend a little bit more time defining the scope of what those items are. And the last watch list, last slide. Again, you'll see some Sedgwick County Park and Lake Afton Park items in there. Main courthouse renovations for the district court, possibly. Employee turnstiles and access control. The health department, KU medical building renovation. There's some talk about taking over the KU Med Center and renovating that into a more comprehensive health department facility. But again, that's out on the horizon. Next slide. You can see the totals by project type and the years for the facility. You can see 2026 is about 11.7 million, 27 is 31, 28 kicks up to almost 56 million. So that's going to be a very busy year for project services. And the last page for my portion is totals by funding source. And that has to do with whether it's bond funded, cash funded, or the fire department funds them. And that's mine. We'll stand for questions if you have anything. I know we went over those a few times a couple of weeks ago, but.
Commissioner Warren?
Mr. Cavanaugh, just a quick question. A lot of these show dollar amounts spread out over 3 years.
Yes.
Does the project begin at the beginning, the middle, or the end of that?
At the beginning.
At the beginning.
Some of them are phased. In fact, I should have pointed that out. There's an open-sided storage buildings for Public Works, and there are 3 buildings, and so they're phased out over 3 years. That's what that's for. But the project starts at the beginning, at 2026.
For example, I was looking at the Webb Road, South 95th to 103rd. Doesn't start building them until 2029.
I believe that might be Public Works.
Yeah. Any more questions for Mr. Cavanaugh?
Oh, good.
All right. All right, onto the road bridge portion. So to address your question about, I think you said Webb Road from 95th to 103rd Street South. So typically when we get into public works projects, the very first year that they show up in the CIP, that's design money where we hire an engineer. And then in the second and maybe the third year, we're getting into right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation. And then the final year is usually just the construction portion of the project. All right, so Daniel Schramp with Sedgwick County Public Works. I'll be going over the road and bridge portion of the presentation. But first, for Commissioner Aldrich, a couple weeks ago when we were up here, you had questions about the floodway and how that was operated. So there was a CIP item in the portion earlier, and that is for capital improvements to the Big Ditch or the MS Mitchell floodway. The question was that for operating? And no, that is not. Operations are not included in the CIP, but I didn't have that figure for you. And so the contribution from Sedgwick County for the operation of flood control is 1.51 million, and then that's half of it. The city puts in the other half of that. So it's just over $3 million for the operations of flood control. All right. So onto our, and we're showing it here as D25. You can see that 740,000. So that's for the just the improvements to flood control. And we can skip back to the road and bridge portion. And next slide. There we go. So this is just a summary of what it is that Sedgwick County Public Works maintains. We have 582 miles of road. That came down approximately 20 miles due to annexations during this past year. We maintain 605 bridges. That is the most in the state, only behind KDOT. We have almost 20 miles of bike paths. We have numerous traffic signs, 29 traffic signals, and you can see that our roads are well traveled. Next slide, please. All right. So rather than listing all the projects during my presentation, I'll be categorizing them into these four main categories. The individual projects are included on the sheet that I handed out when Paul was beginning. We do that because I don't feel the need to go through each bridge project. Most of our projects are bridge replacements, so that would be very repetitive. So we'll just be looking at each of these four categories. Next slide, please. All right. So the changes compared to last year, we increased funding for several projects. We're just keeping up with inflation, looking at tariffs a little bit, what could be coming down the line. And that's mostly based off of engineering estimates that we get. So when a project is first programmed in the CIP, we come up with our own estimate. And then as we move into design, we get plans come in, they're revised. Each set of plans comes with a cost estimate from the engineer. And so we make sure that we keep up with that as new plan sets are submitted to us. We added 6 new projects. We removed the Calfskin Creek watershed project, which was out in western Sedgwick County. That was a project we were hoping to partner with the city of Wichita and FEMA on, but it has become clear that we will not be getting FEMA funds on that project. And then finally, I'll be highlighting partnerships throughout this, but we are partnering with KDOT, Wichita Valley Center, Spirit Aero Systems, and Butler County on our projects. Next slide, please. So the first category is maintenance. The big item here is R175. That's preventative maintenance on our roadway system. It's $55 million. That's cumulative over that 5 years. So that's $11 million per year that we put into asphalt overlays, crack seal, and all of those operations, as well as shouldering of roads, the road shoulder materials, riprap, and everything we do on our roadways. These other two items are much smaller between right-of-way and drainage projects. Drainage projects, the R264s, those are largely replacing very small bridges or large culvert projects. Next slide, please. Just to highlight a few of our bridges that are in this. The first one is B533, the Seneca Bridge that is located between Wichita and Hayesville. It has a $1.8 million total cost, and we are receiving federal funds through WAMPO of 80%. Then we have 27 other bridge replacements totaling $29.63 million. And finally, similar to the R175 project, recently, I think this project has been in our CIP for just 2 years now, is B520, major maintenance just so we can address bridge issues as they come up, rather than waiting for them to become larger issues. Next slide, please. Enhancements to our road system. MacArthur Safety Improvements, that's located from K42 to 215th Street West. We received a $2 million grant as part of the High Risk Rural Roads Project. So our portion of that, of the local match, would be $400,000. The Meridian and 93rd Street Drainage Project is a 50-50 partnership with the City of Valley Center. That is in combination with a large development that is occurring on that side of Valley Center. So we are only participating in the drainage improvement portion of that project, not in the internal roadway system to that neighborhood. The intersection improvements at 21st Street North and 167th Street West, we have $990,000 program for that. That intersection has been in the news recently. It's had a higher rate of accidents. It had received some improvements a couple years ago, and it was recently converted to a four-way stop. And then we also have the Oliver Traffic Signal Improvement Project. That's on Oliver, north of MacArthur, and we are receiving funds from Spirit on that as a partner. Next slide, please. Enhancing our roadway system, we have 6 road reconstruction projects. Those are typically cold mix roads that we are inputting a lot of time and effort into maintaining them. So that would be rebuilding those projects. So that would not just include the roadway, that would include the ditches and potentially some bridges along those roadways. And then here I've broken down the gravel roads that are in the CIP that are being paved. We have 6 of them. I won't go into each of them, but they are all listed there. Each of those are 1 mile long, and they are in the CIP to be improved to a asphalt road. Next slide, please. Expansion of our roadway system. These are all KDOT projects that we participate in. First, we have the Northwest Expressway project that connects K96 down to Kellogg, and it runs generally between the city of Mays and the city of Goddard. Right now, the county is putting $1 million into a fund for the purchase of right-of-way on that project. The East Kellogg Improvement Project, that's the project that goes from approximately, it's to the west of 143rd Street, and then it goes a half mile into Butler County. We have put some money into that project. And the K96 projects, that is, I think, being broken down into a few smaller projects, but we are putting in approximately $4 million into that as well. Next slide, please. Quality of place, both of these projects are shared use paths, bike paths, 10-foot wide. Both of these are receiving federal funds of approximately 80%. The first project is the Maple Street Bike Path that would connect the city of Wichita's system to Goddard system, and then would also go south along 167th Street down to the Eisenhower School Complex. The total project cost is approximately $2.4 million. And then R382 is a project that was new last year, and we are collaborating with both Butler County and KDOT on that project. And that has an estimated cost of $3.8 million. That project would take off from the existing pathway located just to the east of Greenwich Road and extend over to and into Rose Hill in Butler County. Next slide, please. So here's how all those 4 categories would break down. I guess I broke down roads and bridges separately so you could see how that's in there. So now 5 categories, but you can see where our priorities lie in public works. Next slide, please. Fund sources. The majority of our funds come from sales tax. Bonding, we do $4 million per year. That's consistent across all years. And then finally, we have federal exchange. Those are dollars that we that come from the feds through KDOT generally from the gas tax. And those are the funds that we're using on the KDOT projects for K96 improvements and the East Kellogg improvements. Next slide, please. And finally, a list of where our outside funds are coming from. We work with WAMPO just across the hall. Listed the 3 projects that I already covered there that are going through WAMPO. ARC 95 is a project that we are working a couple of different avenues to get funding for to begin the design phase of that. So we are trying to get congressionally directed spending on that or an earmark. And then we're also working on getting funds through the grant process. We have applied twice for that and have not been successful yet. Finally, we have our grants that we get from KDOT for our bridges. Again, highlight just a couple of these. B503, that's the bridge that's immediately downstream from Cheney Reservoir. And we received a $1.8 million grant for that project. That was the second largest grant for a bridge that KDOT awarded that year in the entire state. And then we also submitted 3 bridge projects this year for funding. And then earlier I mentioned the MacArthur Road project that received high-risk rural roads funding. Next slide, please. So here are the goals that are in the community investments plan. For transportation goal number 1, preserve and maintain a safe, cost-effective, and reliable transportation system that strategically supports the economic growth, vitality, and quality of life aspirations of our community. Next slide. That goal, I believe, is met. The proposed CIP continues to make most investments, 82% in preservation of existing systems with strategic enhancements where needed. Next slide. Goal number 2, improve and increase the movement of goods, people, and information with better connectivity and mobility options in our community. Next slide. We also believe that has been met. We are continuing investments in long-range planning for the Northwest Expressway to prepare the community for future growth and enhanced mobility, as well as investing in bicycle and pedestrian facilities when there are matching dollars available. Next slide. So the CIP must be reviewed by the MAPC for consistency with the city and county comprehensive plan. It has already been through the Advanced Plans Committee, and it is here today. And the next step would be to the BOCC. Next slide. So we are requesting that the MAPC find the proposed capital improvement program to be in conformance with the community investments plan. Next slide. Any questions?
Any questions? Actually, I've got a couple real super quick. Going back to the MS Mitchell Floodaway Reserve, are there any additional funds besides the total of 1.51 that the city and county are sharing available for the maintenance and upkeep of that, and for like from the state or any grants from the government?
I don't think so. Wichita might be the better person to look for on that because we just contribute the dollars. We don't have our personnel out there, but I don't think it is. That is the operating budget of that, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will bring it back. The Planning Commission is requested to make a finding that the proposed CIP is in conformance with the Community Investment Plan for 2015-2035. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Approve. We have motion and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, who is the second on that? We have motion by Mr. McKay, Bill Johnson.
It was like stereo. Okay, our next agenda item, 5.2, DER 2025-00016. Justin.
So I think I'm actually DER, the previous agenda item on that, 5.2, which should be DER 2025-16. Oh, you know what? There is no PowerPoint presentation for this, so I will just go ahead and give my presentation without one. So we are discussing agenda item 5.2 regarding the TIF project plan, which is a finding request that you find that the proposed project area 3A project plan for the City South Redevelopment District is consistent with the intent of the comprehensive plan for the development of the city. So I will briefly discuss that item, and then I think that there is an individual here, either from the Economic Development Department, to fill you in further on the project. So for agenda item 5.2, a tax increment finance district, or a TIF, is a tool available under Kansas statute to stimulate economic redevelopment. It allows a city to finance in blighted or deteriorating areas with all or a portion of public infrastructure and redevelopment cost captured through incremental real estate tax revenues or sales tax revenues generated by the redevelopment activity. The state of Kansas requires that a redevelopment project plan be created in order to utilize TIF funding. The city is currently considering the adoption of a project plan for Area 3A of the Center City South Redevelopment District. The proposed project area for Area 3A is located within the boundaries of East Douglas Avenue, South Broadway Avenue, East English Street, and South Market Street. Staff is requesting that the MAPC pass a resolution finding that the proposed project Area 3A, Center City South Redevelopment District project plan, is consistent with the intent of the comprehensive plan for the development of the city. Including the information in the staff report, staff has found that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan. There are 3 guiding principles in the comprehensive plan. Guiding principle, or at least 3 that are relevant in this case. Guiding principle 3 of the plan is to take better care of what we already have, including the maintenance and preservation of existing infrastructure and community facilities. Guiding principle 4 is to make strategic value-added investment decisions with specific reference to tie major infrastructure investments to economic development. And then guiding policy principle 5 is to provide for balanced growth, but with an added focus on our established neighborhoods. 2 of the core community value elements for this principle are to focus growth within established neighborhoods and encourage infill development programs, and support infill project designs that enhance value in existing neighborhoods. That concludes my portion of the presentation. Here to speak further about the project is, I believe, a representative from the Economic Development Department.
Good afternoon. Dominic Eck with Gilmore and Bell, City's Bond Counsel, here on behalf of the Economic Development Department. As was mentioned, this project is proposed for Project Area 3A. It's the project area itself is a couple blocks, several buildings. The specific project that is being contemplated by this project plan is the redevelopment of 2 of the structures into a hotel. And then there would also be attendant public improvements that could be made throughout the rest of that project area 3A. The hotel would have approximately 110 rooms, about 4,000 square feet of commercial space as well. And if you have specific questions on that process, there is a representative of the developer here that can walk you through that too.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commission? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, would you like to make any comments? Please state your name and address.
Jesse Schellenberg with Schellenberg Development Company, 2243 Northridge Road. I guess more so if you guys have any questions, it's pretty straightforward, I guess kind of what we're doing, but it's more so connecting the 2 buildings. We'll be doing a kind of a porte-cochere or connector that will be on part of the parking lot, and just kind of revamping the buildings and get them looking as they should.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
The commission has asked to make a recommendation that to pass a resolution to find the project area A3, or excuse me, 3A, the Center City South Redevelopment District project plan to be as consistent with the Wichita-Sedgwick County Comprehensive Plan Community Investment 2015-2035 for development in the city. Is there a motion to that effect?
I think it is, so I'll move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you very much. The next agenda item is 5.3 DER 2025-00017. Real quick, how many people from the public are here to speak on this? Okay. Before we get going, I just want to read something real quick. The matter on the agenda, this is a non-public item because of statute. The required public hearing is before the City of Andale governing body. While the MAPC is only required to make determination that is limited to whatever or whether or not the proposed annexation is compatible or incompatible with the comprehensive plan. With that said, this commission is willing to accept public comment, but wanted to let the public know that the issue before the MAPC is very limited, and we ask the public to keep in mind when making comments to avoid repeating comments previously made as to respect for everyone's views and times. Philip.
Yes, good afternoon. Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff here to present DER 2517, which is a review of a proposed unilateral annexation by the City of Andale. On May 28th, 2025, the City of Andale passed resolution number 1-25, which was authorizing a public hearing which will take place on July 28th of 2025 for the purposes of considering a unilateral annexation. The subject properties, as you can see in the maps provided in your staff report, are all lots and blocks and reserves of the Higer Edition and all lots and blocks and reserves of the Higer East 2nd Edition. These properties are located on the north side of West 61st Street North and within 1/2 mile east of North 247th Street West. These properties are eligible for unilateral annexation under KSA 12-520A. As they are situated immediately adjacent to the City of Andale's city limits. Prior to unilaterally annexing a property, Kansas statutes require that a plan be prepared indicating the means by which the city services will be extended to the area proposed for annexation. You do have the City of Andale's proposed utility extension plans in your staff report. In general, a water main is proposed to be extended to the east along the north line of West 61st Street North to the subject site. Sanitary sewer would be extended to the north under West 61st Street North from existing mains on the south side of the right-of-way. KSA 12-530B requires the Planning Commission review the proposal and make a finding of the compatibility or incompatibility with an adopted land use or comprehensive plan related to the area of the annexing city. The Planning Commission is to consider this item and make a finding that the requested annexation is either compatible or incompatible with the adopted Community Investments Plan, which is the Wichita-Sedgwick County Comprehensive Plan. That comprehensive plan, the Community Investments Plan, does identify this site to be within Andale's urban growth area. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission pass a motion finding that the unilateral annexation proposed by the City of Andale with resolution number 1-25 to be consistent with the adopted Wichita Comprehensive Plan, and I can stand for any questions.
Is there any question for Philip? Saying none, I am going to open this up for public comment. I think it's imperative and important that your voices be heard. I will give you 3 minutes. If you would please state your name and your address, and keep in mind if there's several speakers, try to speak on something that's new without repeating yourselves.
Okay. My name is Anthony Veith. I live at 24210 West 61st Street North in the division that's being annexed. As Mr. Zimmerman stated, they passed it on May 28th. This subject has come before the Andale City Council twice before, back in 2016. Two different mayors, two different city councils, and it was deferred both times. Both councils told the developer at the time, because there were no houses there, that the land wouldn't be annexed, but it was being connected to the city sewer. The residents in that area paid 2 times the city rate. So let me just give you, we were told when we asked why we were being annexed, is because we had all the same amenities that a city resident has that's on the other side, south side of the road. That's not true. The only amenity, city amenity we have is city sewer, and we pay 2 times the city rate, which we've learned as we've started to fight this, is that happens with a lot of rural areas that are adjacent to cities. We do not have city water. We do not have city trash and recycling. We don't have access to the city waste dumping site. We do not receive city services for any of the other stuff. If there's a hole in our road, one of us goes out and gets a bag of rocks and fixes it and patches it and makes it right. We don't get to call the Public Works Department. And we do pay the non-city rate for things in the city that we do use, such as the city pool. I know this is on the non-public hearing. I appreciate you letting us speak about it. I know you're limited in what you can do because of past actions. And the city has done all the things that their legal counsel has recommended they do to check all the boxes, so to speak. But the thing that people need to take into consideration, none of us would have built on these lots had they been in the city. We built there because we wanted our kids, grandkids to be able to ride go-karts, scooters. Some of them that live on the periphery have trap chutes in their backyards because their lands face out over agricultural fields. We can raise animals. We're actually raising 2 grandkids. They want me to let them get 4-H steers next year. So if we're in the city, that won't happen. The city, he mentioned that the city's shown us a services plan. If that was the services plan, that's pretty limited, but they've told us trash and maybe pave our roads. They gave us a rough estimate off the cuff of $240,000 to extend water to us, which would be $20,000 a household. If they would pave our roads, the best estimate we can come up with is about $500,000 for that, and the water about $625,000, which would be about $50,000 a household. So if these were city lots, which are 1/3 to 1/2 acre, that would be shared over a lot, 40 to 50. There's only 12 of us to share that lot. We think it's unfair that they can do this without. I know you're limited, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your comments. Is there any else like to speak? Sir, please give us your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Brett Clabo, Klabo. I live at 24080 West 61st Street North, Andale, neighbor of Tony's. I'm not used to speaking at podiums, so be fast. But I and my family, my wife Lisa, 2 kids, we all agree with all of Tony's comments he made. I have just a couple I'd like to add to that. Is the lack of transparency from the Andale City Council is very concerning. The fear of unknown plans and unknown specials applied in the future will drastically hurt our equity, all of us. We have never been or want to be a burden on the city. The city has been making money off of us. Now they just want more. We never asked for these services or annexation. We cannot vote against this. It's completely one-sided. It feels like taxation without representation, bait and switch. That's all I got. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this matter? Anyone else like to speak on this matter? If not, I'll bring it back to the commission for comments.
Who's the developer in this area?
I don't know.
Does somebody know who the developer is?
The developer that developed it will be.
Okay, excuse me, sir. Yeah, you'll have to go back to the podium.
Thank you. The developer that developed it was Tom Heeger and Doug Eck, and that's why it got called the Heeger for Mr. Zevers. And Heeger, you'd say Heiger if you were pronouncing it correctly, but it's not. It's Heeger. It's the Heeger East and the Heeger development. So they developed it in 15 and 16. Mine was the fourth home there. It was built in 17. I think the last home was built in late 18 or 19.
Okay, sir, we didn't catch your name and address.
Tony Veith, 24210 West 61st Street North in Annandale, Kansas.
Commissioner Zimmerman, did you have a question?
The numbers you came up with for the utility costs, where did those come from?
So the estimate for the water came from the city manager, public works director. The estimate for the roads, I measured our roads, our 4 shared driveways, and got an estimate from Annandale Construction of a rough cost of asphalt, because that's what most of the city roads in Annandale are asphalt. And so I multiplied 3 times the square foot of our roads and added in the water cost, and that's where I come up with the $625,000. That does not include curbs. Curbs, if they decide to make them a true city street, curbs would add $13 a foot for every foot of roadway in our development. And again, that would be shared over 12 homes, not the 45 or 50 if this was a true city development.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Mr. Hyde?
Yep, after 2 times of being voted down or not approved, how come it's coming up that the city of Annandale wants to expand this time?
We can't get a straight answer for that. And I hate to say it this way, our mayor went and met with Commissioner Wise. And so I took the answer that he shared with her. It's because we get all the same amenities that a person that lives in the city does, which is not true. That is blatantly false. The only amenity we have access to is the city sewer. And like I said in my speech, we pay 2 times the city rate. Other questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir. I have a question for legal. If this is approved, do you know how long the city of Annandale would have to supply the services that they are not presently getting besides sewer? And then after that time, what happens if they don't? If it gets annexed, then can they de-annex?
The service plan will be reviewed within 3 years, and at that time, if at the time of that review, well, I'm sorry, let me back up. Once the annexation gets, if the annexation gets approved, and once it's approved, then the county by statute has to review the service plan after 3 years. And at that time, if the commission finds, the Board of County Commissioners find that the service plan has not been implemented and the services provided, then the city will have I believe it's 1.5 years to comply. And if they do not comply, then de-annexations will come into play.
Thank you. Scott?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to add on to that the service plan does not necessarily have to say that they're going to pave every road and that they're going to provide every service into the area. It's just a plan for what services they're going to provide by that time frame.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner McKay?
But I thought there's a state statute, if they annexed, they had to provide within a certain period of time.
That's not my recollection.
Sir, they have to provide a service plan indicating what services they will provide, and then we review that. Then the county's obligation is to review that service plan and make sure that it has been provided pursuant to statute. And then if it's not, then they get more time. But if once they don't get, it's 1.5 years to come into compliance, and then if they still aren't, then that's when de-annexation would occur.
Okay.
But that's how the statute sets out the process.
That question was for some of the public benefit. That's why I asked it in case. Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring it back to the commission. You know, our hands are pretty much handcuffed, there's not a whole lot we can do. Yes, Commissioner Warren.
I'll offer some stuff from experience. I had the opportunity to serve the city of Derby for just under 20 years as a councilman. We had to deal with this several times. Several times we had properties, the city grew up around them, and you had an island of a group of people in the middle that weren't being taxed and getting paying for services that the people that are inside were not paying for. And so you do have that come up quite a bit. We also ran across a situation that's very similar to this one, where the parcels were much larger than what you would normally have in the city. And so the city of Derby created a separate zoning based on the size of the lot, that if the neighborhood had a number of lots that were in, I can't remember exactly what the acreage was, if it's 5 acres or 10 acres, had larger, that they had opportunities to continue to use them in certain ways. They could have horses, they could ride go-karts, they could do a number of activities that you would think you would be able to enjoy on a larger lot than you have, and so they compromise from that standpoint. But if you allow people to build right up next to a city and expect that they're not going to be annexed in, then you're creating a problem down the line.
You ran out of mic. Thank you, sir. Okay, we are asked, the commission to pass a motion finding the unilateral annexation proposed by the city of Andale, resolution 1-25 is consistent with the adopted Wichita-Sedgwick County Comprehensive Plan.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay, may we have a show of hands of those in favor of the motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Six to three.
If we could, sir, can we get a show of hands of those who are opposed?
Just for the record, the opposed are Miles, High, and Williams Bay.
Okay, the motion passes. We don't have anything else on the agenda, so we will adjourn.
Good job, Robert.